Hello, dear students. This is Rahul Mishra. I'm your chemistry teacher. So, first of all, I welcome all students in online class. So, today I'm going to tell you that why I have selected chapter number 4, materials, metals, and non-metals, to start first. Because this chapter is very important and you will see the detailed version of this chapter in class 10th. So, if we revise or study properly this chapter here, so we will not be facing any problem in class 10th, because all the topics which are in class 10th, these are related with the topics in class 8th. So we have to start chapter number 4 in initial manner. So first of all, I'm going to tell about the materials. What are materials? Materials are the substances which are having some mass and occupy some space. They are called materials, and they can be classified into different categories. But up to class 8th standard, we have to discuss about metals and non-metals, and in some extent about metalloids. Clear? So in next coming topics, we will see the properties of metals and non-metals. So before starting metals and non-metals, we should focus on some basic concepts like in chemistry, there are 118 elements. Total 118 elements have been discovered in chemistry, and their names have been discovered, and they can be classified into four groups: S block, P block, D block, and F block. And you will study about these blocks in higher classes. So, by the combinations of these elements, we can form different compounds. Different compounds means the gas, carbon dioxide, the water you are drinking, the cold drink you are drinking, the food you are eating. These are the these are the compounds which are being made by using some different elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and some another type of elements in some another compounds we will see in higher classes. So by the combination of these elements, the compounds are being formed, and in these elements, some of them are metals, some of them are metals, and some of them are known as non-metals. What are the metals and non-metals? How can we identify them? If we are given a mixture, in that mixtures metals and non-metals are being given. So what are the parameters, what are the guidelines, what are the methods to identify the metals and non-metals from the mixtures? So we have to take two parameters, two methods that will help us to identify the metals and non-metals from the mixtures. First is physical properties of metals and non-metals we have to discuss, and second one, chemical properties and metals and non-metals we have to discuss. So if we are unable to identify the metals and non-metals by using physical properties, so we have to go through chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So first of all, we are going to discuss about metals and non-metals physical properties. What are the physical properties in case of metals and in case of non-metals? Now, the substances or materials which are hard and lustrous. Lustrous means shiny appearance. Those materials or substances which are hard in nature, solid in nature, and lustrous, they are having shiny appearance. They are called metals. And those materials substances which are soft in nature and dull in appearance. Dull in appearance, not shiny surface. They are known as non-metals. Physical properties means the physical appearance from outside. Okay, so hard and lustrous for metals and soft and dull in appearance for non-metals. Malleability. The second property we are going to discuss regarding metals. What is malleability? Malleability, the conversion of metals into thin sheets. If we apply some pressure or force on a particular metallic objects, if it is being converted, it is changing its shape and it is being converted into thin sheet. This property of metals is known as malleability. Next, if we apply such type of pressure or force on non-metallic objects like coal and sulfur, they can be converted into powdery mass on tapping with a hammer. So they are not having the property like metals, that is malleability. Clear? So we can take the example of iron, copper, zinc. These metals are malleable and they can bear the pressure or force when we apply on them. So they can be converted into thin sheets. Next, ductility. Ductility, the property belongs to metals, the conversion of metals into wires. To make wires by using the metals, the property is known as ductility. And when we generally we use the copper wires at our homes because copper and silver they are having the higher conductivity. So silver is too expensive, so that's why we can use the copper material to make the wires. And when we talk about the non-metals, they are non-ductile because though they cannot bear the pressure or force, so they cannot be converted into cylindrical objects like wires. Next property, sonorous. Metals produce ringing sound. So this property belongs to metal. When two metals strike to each other, they will form ringing sounds. And generally, the example we can see the cycle bell and the electric bell that we have seen in our school. When we talk about the non-metals, they are not sonorous. If we are dropping a piece of coal from a particular height on the ground, so it will not produce any type of sound because it is not showing the property sonorous. So that's why it can be converted into powdery mass or it can be converted into small pieces, but it will not produce ringing sound like metals. So that's why they are not sonorous. Regarding conduction of electricity and heat, in metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. And when we talk about the non-metals, they are poor conductors of heat and electricity. How can we understand this phenomena? In class 6, we have learned about closed circuit and open circuit. Closed circuit means this is complete circuit. In this circuit, if we are placing a metallic object which is made from iron in the path of circuit, so there is no interruption in the flow of electricity. The flow of electricity will be going on as usual. The flow of current will be going on. So there is, because the metallic object can pass the electric current through them. And when we talk about the good conductors of heat, if we are heating the one end of the metallic pipe, so now the heat is transferring from one end to another end due to the conduction process, and this process we have seen in class 7th. Next, non-metallic objects are poor or bad conductors of heat and electricity. Suppose we can consider the example plastic. Plastic are non-metals and they are, if we place a material which is made from plastic in the path of the circuit, the flow of current will be stopped completely. It means the circuit is incomplete now because the non-metallic object cannot allow the electric current pass through them. Clear? So this was about the physical properties of metals and non-metals we have discussed. Here are some exceptions. What are soft metals? We have seen the properties of metals because they are having the hard in nature, they are hard and shiny appearance. When we talk about the soft metals, what are soft metals? Sodium, potassium, lithium. These metals are known as soft metals because they can be cut by knife, and they are having the property like non-metals, but the rest of the properties related to the metals, so that's why they can be considered into metals category. One more exceptions, one more exception. Apart from many exceptions, one more exception is given: mercury. Only metal which exists in liquid form at room temperature. The mercury is a metal which can exist in liquid form at room temperature. It is found in liquid state. And when we talk about the non-metallic substance, non-metal which can found in liquid form at room temperature, that is bromine, bromine water. Clear? So this was about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Now we are moving to chemical properties of metals and non-metals. What is the mean of chemical properties of metals and non-metals? In these properties, we will discuss about some chemical reactions. What happens when metal react metals react with oxygen? What happens when metals react with water? What happens when metals react with acids? What happens when metals react with bases? And we see all the property in the case of non-metals also. And the last one is displacement reaction. So in chemical properties, we have to discuss five reactions. Clear? So one by one, we are taking all chemical properties. First chemical property we are taking, what happens when metals react with oxygen. So basic equation we can write, metals are reacting with oxygen and they will form metallic oxides. Example, rusting of iron. When when iron react with oxygen and moist air that brings moisture which is having water, and the iron oxide will be formed, and the nature of the iron oxide will be basic. Ab, how can we identify the nature of the new form product that is basic? An indicator will inform about it. Any indicator we can take, like litmus paper. The two different types of litmus paper are available in the chemistry lab. One is blue litmus paper, second one is red litmus paper. So we have to take out the rust from the iron rod and we will mix with the water, and now the solution can be prepared. And one by one, each litmus paper will be dipped in the solution. If blue litmus paper turns into red, it means the nature of the solution is acidic. If red litmus paper turns into blue, it means the nature of the solution is basic. So all the non-metallic oxides are basic in nature. Clear? So basic equation we can write, metals plus oxygen, and they will form their corresponding metallic oxides. And the symbol form, chemical symbol form equation we can write, Fe plus O2 plus Fe2O3. Fe2O3 is the formula of iron oxide. Next example we can take regarding magnesium metal. What happens when magnesium react with oxygen? Magnesium oxide will be formed. So you can use up to class 8th standard the word form equation by using the alphabetical manner. If you don't write the, if you are comfortable to write the chemical symbol equation, so you can also write, but it would be more easy to you to write the chemical formula equation, because this will help you to in class 10th, because you will be dealing by these equations in class 10th. Next, sodium. What happens when sodium react with oxygen? Sodium oxide will be formed. The nature of the sodium oxide will be basic. Next, a note is given, when copper vessel is exposed to air, it acquires a dull green coating. The green material is a mixture of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. So as we have seen the rusting of iron, this is the copper rusting. When copper reacts with water, carbon dioxide and oxygen, it will form a mixture which consists copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. A green color substance will be formed, and the nature is related with the rust. So that's why this is called copper rusting. So the similar property we are going to discuss in case of non-metals. So when non-metals react with oxygen, it will form non-metallic oxides, and all non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. So example we are taking, what happens when sulfur react with oxygen? Sulfur dioxide will be formed, and immediately this sulfur dioxide will react with water and it will form sulfurous acid, and the nature of the sulfurous acid will be acidic. So all non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. The second property, what happens when metals react with water? Sodium metal reacts vigorously with oxygen and water and produces heat. Therefore, it is stored in kerosene. So, when sodium reacts with water, it will form sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas will be liberated. And the amount of the container will also, the temperature of the container will also increase. Clear? Next, when iron reacts with water very slowly, because it is a type of slow reaction, slow combustion, and that we already seen in rusting of iron. In case of non-metals, generally non-metals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. Such non-metals are stored in water. Example, phosphorus. Phosphorus is very reactive, it catches fire if exposed to air. Clear? Next property, reactions with acids in case of metals. What happens when metals react with acids? Metals react with acid and produces hydrogen gas with a pop sound. So basic equation we can write, the fundamental equation we can write, metals plus dilute acids. So metallic salts will be formed and hydrogen gas will be liberated. What is the mean of dilute? The amount of water is in excess. So magnesium will react with hydrochloric acid. The magnesium chloride will be formed, a type of salt, and hydrogen gas will be liberated. When magnesium react with sulfuric acid, magnesium sulfate will be formed and hydrogen gas will be formed. When aluminium react with sulfuric acid, aluminium sulfate will be formed and hydrogen gas will be liberated. When aluminium react with hydrochloric acid, aluminum chloride will be formed and the liberation of hydrogen gas will be there. When iron react with sulfuric acid, it will form iron sulfate and hydrogen gas will be liberated. Clear? When iron react with hydrochloric acid, it will form iron chloride and hydrogen gas will be released. So this was about the metals. When what happens when metals react with acids, they will form their corresponding salts and the production of hydrogen gas will be there. Clear? So in case of non-metals, non-metals do not react with acids. Suppose we are placing a carbon piece in a container. In that container the acid is being poured, so that's why there is no reaction, because carbon is less reactive towards acid, so there is no reaction. So generally non-metals do not react with acids. A note is given, copper does not react with dilute HCl even on heating, but it reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid. Why does it happen? Because copper is situated below the hydrogen. Hydrogen is more reactive than copper. We will see this phenomena in property number 5, displacement reaction. A rule is given there, so we have to wait for this phenomena. So simply we can consider the copper cannot replace the hydrogen from its salt solution, because copper is less reactive than hydrogen. That's why it cannot replace hydrogen from its salt solution, so the no reaction will be there. So what can be done? So in this case we can take concentrated sulfuric acid, because concentrated sulfuric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. And what is the property of a strong oxidizing agent? It will form copper sulfate and the sulfur dioxide gas will be formed and water will be released. What is the mean of a strong oxidizing agent? A strong oxidizing agent means a substance which can oxidize other, and get reduce itself. Clear? So the removal of hydrogen is known as reduction. Clear? So SO4, SO2. The removal of oxygen is also known as reduction. So sulfuric acid is being reduced and sulfur dioxide will be formed. Clear? What happens when metals react with bases? Metals react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. The basic equation we can write, metals react with bases and salt will be formed and hydrogen gas will be released. Example we can take with the zinc metal. Zinc will react with sodium hydroxide and sodium zincate will be formed and hydrogen gas will be liberated. Clear? Next, while reactions of non-metals with bases are complex, carbon dioxide react with sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium carbonate and water will be released. Clear? So do not worry, when we will be back to the school, we will revise all the equations in detailed manner. We will learn about the balancing of equations. So do not worry, though we have some limitations regarding online teaching and learning, but we are trying our best in this situation. The fifth number chemical property, displacement reactions. A more reactive metal can replace the less reactive metal from its salt solution, but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal from its salt solution. A rule is given. So a reactivity series is given here. What is the reactivity series? The arranging of metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity is called reactivity series of metals. So in this series, the metals are being arranged from top to bottom, and when we go top to bottom, the reactivity decreases. And what is the rule? The metals, the metals which are situated above the hydrogen, the metals which are situated above the hydrogens are known as more reactive metals, and the metals which are situated below the hydrogen, they are known as less reactive metals. It means the reactivity of the metals which are situated above the hydrogen is higher, and the reactivity of the metals which are situated below the hydrogen, that is lower. So this reactivity series you have to remember always when you are being solved, where you are when you are supposed to solve questions regarding displacement reactions. Clear? So now we have the answer of question which is given in your exercise. What happens when dilute sulfuric acid is poured on copper plate? So no reaction will be there because copper is situated below the hydrogen, so that's why it cannot replace. So what type of reaction we can consider in displacement reaction? What happens when zinc granule is being put in copper sulfate solution? So zinc is more reactive. Zinc is more reactive than copper, so zinc can replace the copper from its salt solution, and zinc sulfate will be formed, and it is colorless compound, and copper material will be separated out. So this is displacement reaction. Suppose if we are performing the reverse reaction, we are taking the salt of zinc and we are placing the copper material in it. So what happens when zinc sulfate react with copper material? So zinc is more reactive than copper, so copper cannot replace the zinc from its salt solution, and there will be no reaction. Clear? Good. So this was about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So I hope you all have understood. If any problem you are facing to understand any topic, please let me know. Please put your queries in your on my personal WhatsApp, so that can be solved. Next topic, uses of metals and non-metals. Where are these metals and non-metals are being used? So generally the uses of metals are very common. Metals are used in making machinery, automobiles, aeroplane, train, satellites, industrial gadgets, water boilers, etc. in vehicles generally you see. So what is important? The uses of non-metals. This is very important. So, what are the elements in the non-metallic categories which are used in our daily routine life? Oxygen is used in breathing. The oxygen is a type of non-metal and it is used in the breathing. Phosphorus and nitrogen are used as fertilizers. To make the artificial fertilizers, potash, phosphate, these basic elements which comes in the category in the non-metals, they are being used to disinfect the water. In the water purification process, the chlorine and ozone gas are being used, chlorine tablets and ozone gas. So these are the non-metals which are used in water works to disinfect the water from germs and impurities. Purple color solution tincture iodine is used as an antiseptic. Tincture iodine is a non-metal which is found in solid state, and it is used as an antiseptic. So it's used in medicine. It is used as a medicine. Clear? Phosphorus and sulfur are used in crackers. So generally phosphorus and sulfur are used in crackers because they are explosives. They are being used to make explosives. So that's why these non-metals are very important. And Diwali we burn the crackers. So generally phosphorus and sulfur are used there. A note is given what are the elements. Element, a substance that cannot be broken down further by any chemical reaction, called as elements. The smallest portion of the matter. And carbon, sulfur, and iron. These are the elements. Atom. What is atom? The smallest unit of an element is called atom. The smallest unit of an element is called atom. It means the smallest part of an element where the electron, proton, and neutron they can reside. This is known as atom. What are metalloids? Metalloids, those elements which can show the properties of both metals and non-metals, called as metalloids. Examples we can take: boron, silicon, germanium, astatine, antimony, tellurium, and astatine. Sorry, boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and astatine. These are the these are the metalloids which can show the properties of both metals and non-metals. So that's why they can be considered in the category of metalloids. So this was about the metals and non-metals. I hope you all have understood. You all have enjoyed the explanation part. Earlier, I have sent a link which is regarding the complete explanation of the chapter. Please go through it. If anything you are facing to understand, please let me know. Please put your queries in the group on my personal WhatsApp. So I hope you all will be studying. Though we all have some limitation regarding teaching online, but we are trying our best. Do not worry. Whenever we will be back to the school, we will revise all the topics related to the chapters. So do not worry. Keep studying. Have a nice day.